Civil War, which you gave me a list of movies to watch before watching it.
Oh, yeah.
And because I was like, you know, I don't watch these Marvel movies. Should I be? And because you were raving about Civil War, so I was like, what should I watch before that? And you gave me a list. I think it was Ant-Man, Age of Ultron, Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. That probably was it.
That was probably it. And so I watched those three. I enjoyed them all to varying degrees.
Winter Soldier's pretty good.
Winter Soldier, I would say, is the best Marvel film yet.
Yeah.
I would say it is.
It's really strong.
And maybe
Guardians is mine.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's easy to forget.
They're tied. They're tied.
Yeah. And they came out like months apart.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was their big 2014. Yeah.
So I saw those three movies. I did like Ant-Man, but it felt like an Edgar Wright film with not Edgar Wright as the director.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get beyond, like, we all know Edgar Wright is this massive talent, and it's really hard to get beyond them choosing to go away from him. But given their goals, maybe it made sense.
But I did like it. I liked Paul Rudd, and I liked Paul Rudd's role in Civil War. And as much as like I want to kind of complain, like, oh, I have to do homework before watching these movies, I did enjoy it a little more because I watched those movies.
Well, sure, because it in the same way that a series or a season finale of a show is a more satisfying thing than the ending of a 90-minute movie sometimes.
Yeah.
And just for that airport sequence, watching Ant-Man was worth it. To understand the Paul Rudd character and how out of place he was going to be and what he was going to do.
He was at a place in the movie. He was like, we picked up this guy and he's going to fight with us.
Yeah. I mean, my shtickala on Civil War is that it mastered, because an easy criticism of Civil War would be, all this is just watching a bunch of guys in tights fighting. Like, you're just trying to get them fighting because that's funny, you know, because it's the age-old comic book store argument of who would win in a fight, Batman or Superman, which is the other movie. But what Civil War did so successfully was the micro scene, right? So if you have dozens of characters, all in their different costumes with their own motivations, how do you balance that? Especially across a 2-hour and 15-minute movie. It's not even tastelessly long, that movie. So what those guys did, those Russo brothers, who, by the way, you realize that their only filmography is a couple of episodes of Community and You, Me, and Dupree.
And you hand them the keys to basically the biggest...
Winter Soldier was their big thing, and now they did Civil War. I think they're 2-time proven.
Yeah.
And then they're going to do
Infinity
War. Now that Joss Whedon has been like SJW'd off the planet.
I think and that's good. It's the anti-Snyder. He had his movies, and he flew away into space with Gucci.
Yeah.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
I think it's a smart idea.
They're learning from their audiences. Both Civil War and Batman vs. Superman wanted to clear up the whole Superman problem of killing too many people. So we clear out an airport. We've evacuated the airport. We're going to have our fight here. Yeah. For the Doomsday one, oh good, they're on an uninhabited island. We made sure there were lines in there that no one was getting hurt in these things. Man
of Steel is obviously the quintessential movie for, like, we destroyed way too much blockage. But my issue was never like, that's not very heroic. Superman, my issue is that the spectacle at some point grows too large.
For you to even comprehend the destruction.
And the narrative bubble pops. Yeah. And you start going, aren't there people around or something? You know, you start wondering about reality, and I know that's not the point of a superhero movie, but it actually kind of is, because in order to be invested in the characters, you're supposed to set up a fictional world that you can believe in to some degree. That's why a comic book is compelling. Which
is then what Marvel went and did, is the whole thing with Civil War is the fallout and the consequences of what happened in these other events.
So what those guys can do that nobody else seems all that capable of is, like, for instance, Wonder Woman. She was not set up. She's just in the movie. These guys go, this is Black Panther. This is his father. They have a relationship. Oh my God, he's dead. He's pissed and he's out for revenge.
Believe the motivation.
And we can do it in 2 minutes and 45 seconds of time.
And what was something that I thought was really impressive was they somehow didn't lose the fact that it was a Captain America movie, that he was still the main character in the center of it all. They could have just had him be the sort of vessel, the vehicle, but no, he really is.
And
he's
basically making another Avengers movie.
Yeah, exactly.
He is the structure, and he is the glue. And Winter Soldier was great, and this was a great follow up to that.
And in my opinion, that makes it better than any Avengers movie ever can be, because you're always better off. I mean, there can be great ensemble films, but you're always better off with a film that has a central protagonist with a central motivation.
Yeah.
You can tell a better story that way.
There are some criticisms like that, like enough of this Bucky bullshit. Let's move on.
Bucky worked for me.
But I agree. I agree with that completely.
That gave him everything that he needed to do,
Yeah.
and Bucky continues to be kind of like, I like that we're not just disposing of Bucky after Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And you know what else is kind of interesting is it wouldn't quite work, but you could theoretically watch Captain America 1, 2, and 3, and you could watch a lot of narrative arcs.
Yeah.
Like it does continue to be its own sub-franchise.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't know who this Iron Man guy was.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, the Iron Man. All right, let's throw Spider-Man in and jump around.
So I thought so let's talk about Spider-Man. I thought Spider-Man's treatment was great in terms
Yes.
of Spider-Man, but I think Spider-Man weakened the movie.
I do too. I think that's when I thought, oh, they're really excited about their new toy. And like they wanted to put that in right away.
It did feel a little bit like a Happy
with
Meal commercial, and here's what you're getting.
In the interviews and stuff, be like, we really knew that we had to get the rights to him because we just could not tell the story without him.
That's bullshit.
Complete bullshit.
Of those people, it was closer that you couldn't tell it without Ant-Man. Like Ant-Man was more central to that fight
Yeah,
than
he was.
Spider-Man
He
was.
was.
Do we all delight in seeing Tony Stark talk to a young Peter Parker? Of course, it's a great scene.
It's a great scene.
It's a
But
really,
it's a scene.
really well-handled scene, but just pluck it right out and you don't lose a thing.
You could make it a YouTube exclusive.
And Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark can talk to any young kid, and it's a great scene. Whatever he's going to impart to any character, no matter who it is going to be great.
And a lot of people are, there's the teaser of Justice League that they released at Comic-Con that has Bruce Wayne talking to a young Flash, and they're saying that they're kind of like copying the Peter Parker Iron Man thing, which is a little cynical, perhaps. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just sort of if Batman's recruiting the Justice League,
has to talk to them all at some point.
And that's just kind of what those two characters would end up doing. But
You see, I believe enemies are coming.
Stop right there. I'm in.
anything else about Civil War that we really liked? I mean, I thought the action for the most part was well handled.
Yeah.
I didn't like some of they did some of that Gladiator short frame rate stuff for the action.
Yeah.
That I wasn't in love with.
Yeah, the action sometimes is hard to follow, and I do think it's a weaker movie than Winter Soldier.
I don't think we're ever going to get anything good out of Black Widow. I'm glad we're just replacing her with Scarlet Witch, because Black Widow has never given us anything as a good female character.
Yeah, well, I did like that I like that she gets to move around from movie to movie, in a like.
She's a good constant string, and she's good for representing S.H.I.E.L.D. at all times and S.H.I.E.L.D.'s interests.
Yeah, she's not strong enough to be in her own movie, and
Sexist.
I don't think as a character she's strong enough.
Well, that's sexist.
Age of Ultron was. It was definitely the worst of the movies that I saw recently.
Yeah. It crumbles under its own weight.
Like Sokovia.
Like Sokovia. Disposing of Ultron in the same movie you created him is another example to me of something I don't really care for. I like stakes bringing you into the next movie. I mean, you do need to close some loops in the same film, but I just want to say about Black Widow, I think her strongest movie is Winter Soldier. Cool. And I think her best folly is with Cap. And I really don't know why she's in a relationship with the Hulk.
I don't either. That seems very shoehorned in.
And the one thing
that was shoehorned in, and her showing up in Iron Man 2. Like, we just got to
that was where she was introduced.
We got to clear those from the palette. Those are weird ass things that they did with her.
But a good example of how you can have kind of a non-blank.
Her hair changes a lot.
A lot, yes, depending on how good she is. Black Widow being kind of a non-blank character in Iron Man 2, and then eventually somebody else doing something good with her is an example of how, you might be able to weather the storm of bad movies.
You don't have to throw the baby out.
Right.
Exactly.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater or else
Change your hair and give her to another
you'll have
director.
a critically injured baby.